Welcome to 15-Minute Yoga. My name is Bill Iki, and today we'll be focusing on the core. Our core encompasses muscles all around the body, so it's always a good idea to flex and strengthen not only the abdominals, but muscles on the side and the back. Let's begin in a seated position, hands by the sides. Let the arms come up overhead, and as the arms come down, twist to your left, placing your right hand on the left knee and the left hand back behind the left hip as a support. Make sure that this hand on the knee is just resting gently. Crown of the head lifts up and we twist off to our left. Gaze, if possible, goes back over the left shoulder. Come back to center, arms come up, and we twist to the other side. Left hand on right knee, right hand supporting the torso, head lifts up, back is straight. Again, the twist comes from the abdominals. You feel those muscles as you twist, gazing if possible over the right shoulder. And arms come back up and down to the sides. Let's move on to our backs. And bend the knees, feet flat on the mat. Put the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers, thumbs right at the base of the skull. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to raise the head and shoulders off the floor. When I do that, I do not want you to do a crunch where the elbows pull up and you're coming up as high as you can. Keep the elbows wide, head and shoulders come off the mat just a little bit. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh just above the knee. Now, lift the left foot off the mat, hold for a breath or two, and then release. Lift the left foot off the mat, hold for a breath or two, and then release. This time, raise the head and shoulders off the mat a little bit, and then lift the foot. You might feel more compression in the stomach. Release everything down. Raise the head and shoulders and the foot off the mat. Release. Everything comes up and back. One more time. Head and shoulders off the mat. Left foot off the mat. And release. Bring the right foot back to the mat. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh, just above the knee. Keeping the head and shoulders on the mat, raise the right foot up, hold for a breath or two, and release. Again, right foot up, hold for a breath or two, and release. This time when you lift the foot, also lift the head and shoulders. Head and shoulders come off the mat, elbows are wide, foot is up, and release. Once again, head and shoulders off the mat, foot comes up, and release. Again, head and shoulders off the mat, foot comes up, release. One more time, everything comes up off the mat, head and shoulders, foot, and release. Now, keeping the hands behind the head, bringing the left foot back to the mat. Feel the low back. There's an arch there. Pull that low back down into the mat. Raise the feet up off the floor so that the lower legs are parallel to the mat. We're going to do a little bit of yogic bicycling. We'll start with the right leg. Extend the right leg forward, drop the foot, bring the knee back. Left leg goes out, foot drops, comes back. Right foot out, drops, slides back. Left foot out, drops, slides back up. Now, for a little more challenge, raise the head and shoulders off the mat, keeping the elbows wide, much like we did in the previous movement. And continue this slow movement of the legs. You'll note that this bicycling movement that we're doing is not especially fast. It's a little slower and more intentional. And it will turn out, of course, that the body will benefit more from those slow movements than if we do the things rapidly. Okay, one more on each side. And then bring the feet back down to the mat. Let the hands come down by the hips, arms are long. Hug both knees into the chest, gently rock side to side. Now, you have an option here of crossing your ankles. It doesn't matter which one's on top, and possibly reaching forward for the toes. Now, that might not be in your practice today. If it's not, that's okay. You go ahead and continue to hug those knees into the chest. You might be able to grasp by the shins as opposed to down around the feet. That's good. Pulling the knees back a little bit more closely, and especially as we do this where the knees open wider, is good for our hips. Let's drop both feet to the mat. Extend the legs long. Move into a full body stretch by extending the arms back behind the head. Hands stretch. Toes point forward. Then let the toes relax. Raise the right leg up and the left arm. Now, if it's possible for you to get your left hand over to touch your right leg, do that. If not, go as far as you can. And then release. Left leg and right arm come up. Right hand touches the leg. And release. Back to the first side. Left hand, right leg. Release. Right arm comes up, touches the left leg. Release. Now you'll notice that when we get to the top here, I'm pausing intentionally for just a moment or two. And in fact, if you can pause a little bit longer, that could be more beneficial to the core. Continue to alternate sides, making sure that it is the leg and the abdominal muscles that are moving the leg up and not momentum from going fast. One more on each side. And when you finish, bring the hands down by the sides and just relax the body for a moment or two. Let everything settle into the mat. Soften those places that are touching the mat along the back. Very good. Now, we're going to move through what's called a low boat pose. I want you to begin by turning your arms so the palms face the ceiling and raise the hands up off the floor several inches. Now, flex both feet and raise the right foot off the mat just a little bit, 3 or 4 inches. Then the right foot comes down. Left foot comes up and back down. Right foot up and down. Left up and down. Now this time, I'm going to invite you to raise your head and shoulders off the mat just a little bit. Don't curl your chin in. Try and keep the head more or less in line with the spine and the back. Now, right leg up and down. Left leg up and down. This movement has been called a low boat. Because we're doing one leg at a time, we might consider this to be a low half boat. Continue alternating. One leg up and down, other leg up and down, holding that leg in the up position for just a second or two. After the next time the left leg comes up and back down, stop. And let everything fall back down into the mat. Now, hold behind your knees, behind the thighs at the knees, lifting the feet up, and begin to rock forward and back until you come up into a seated position. We're going to move into our boat pose here. We're going to start this pretty easily. Begin with the hands back behind by the hips, supporting fingers face forward. Lift the right leg up. Hold that for a moment or two. Then down. Left leg up and down. Right leg up and down. Left leg up and down. Both legs up, down. Both legs up, down. Now, bring the hands behind the thighs at the knees. One leg up, down. Other leg up, down. Now this time we're going to hold the leg up just a little bit longer. And down. Left leg up. And down. Right leg up. And down. Left leg up. And down. Now, both legs up. And if this is too much for you today, go back to just lifting one leg at a time. You can feel some stress on your core muscles, perhaps. Consider releasing the arms out and bring the feet to the mat. Hug your knees. Pull the chest in toward the knees. Let the head fall forward. Release. One more time. Let's move into our boat pose, either one foot up at a time or both feet together, always with the option of the arms out, palms up. And again, come down, hug the knees, pull the knees into the chest. And return to a comfortable seated position. Hands down by the sides. Let the arms come up overhead. Bring the hands back down. Arms overhead, let the gaze follow the fingers. Turn the palms away and come down. Hands come up and down. That completes our 15-minute yoga on core for today. I hope this was beneficial to you. Happy yoga.